What's going on, guys? I'm Joe Farewell here with Tactical Hyve today, and we're going to be talking about a little bit of belt setup and some of the things that you need to know about how you angle your kit. So we have two different kits here. I have a battle belt setup with a Safariland holster, and I also have kind of my 3-gun / 2-gun setup with my Signature Series holster on it. It's from Priority 1 holsters, and this one you can see is not on a dropped and offset. So the battle belt is running a drop and offset rig for my holster. And one of the questions I get asked a lot is how do we get a faster, more consistent draw where we're getting the red dot every single time? The first thing you can do to fix that is make sure your gear is working for you and not against you. One thing that Safariland holsters and a lot of different duty holsters have in common is the angle is aggressively wrong. And what I mean by that is the screws on the back are set up in such a way when you get the holster stock that the gun is canted significantly farther forward. This is not going to help you have a good draw. So what we want to do is adjust it to make sure that your body is working with your gear instead of fighting your gear. The way that I do that with a Safariland holster is simply take out the bottom screw. When we take out the bottom screw, we can adjust this to where the plate is vertical, like it is on this one, if I'm running a dropped and offset, or if I want to have that directly on my belt, I'm actually going to adjust it to where it is canted backwards. I want that pistol to be rocked back a little bit on my hip. Now, the reason for that is because biomechanically, it works better. When we think about a draw stroke and what that entails, we basically need to get the gun out of the holster, pointed at the target in the most efficient way possible. One of the things that happens when you have that forward cant is we will end up rolling our shoulder up, our elbow will tip out, and then our wrist will get at a really awkward angle. I'm going to show you that right now. All right, so you can see here, this is the holster setup, basically how it comes stock. If you look at the back here, I've adjusted it back to where it's not comfortable for me, but how it should be coming from the factory, where this has basically a 15-degree-ish cant forward. Well, when we put this on the gun, or on the belt, and I get into my shooting structure, my shooting stance, and I grab that, you can see here where my elbow flares out, my shoulder rolls forward, and my wrist is at this really awkward angle in order to get a good grip on the gun. What that turns into is as I present the gun, I now have to rotate all of that back during the presentation if I'm going to get a good presentation on the target. That is not ideal. What it looks like if we do it right, where I have this one set up, now it's vertical versus that forward cant. Now when I grab the gun, my shoulder can basically stay in the exact same spot. I think of this as being the pivot point. My elbow works as a piston, it drives straight back, and my wrist is at a natural angle, and actually the same angle that I'm going to be presenting on the target, which is really good because we don't want to change that angle during the presentation, and it'll help you be way more consistent with picking up the red dot. So as we move here, this stays in the same spot, elbow drives straight back. I build the grip here, my wrist stays at the same angle. This elbow, again, driving like a piston straight up. And then as I clear the holster, I'm pushing straight forward, maintaining that wrist angle and picking up the dot consistently, or at least way more consistently than if you have to change everything around. The other big problem when we look at this forward angle is a lot of times guys won't actually fix it on the way up. And that'll turn into something like this, where we have the strong side shoulder way up high, that elbow gets canted out a little bit. And that's just not good structure, and it's not going to help you with your recoil management. It's not going to help you with your target transitions. It's just not what we want to do in general. Now, if I switch over here to my competition belt, you'll see that the holster is a little bit higher up because it's not on a drop and offset. Because of that, I need to actually rotate this holster back some to get that natural wrist angle instead of having it cammed forward. If I were to put this holster on this belt, which is straight up and down because I usually have it on that drop and offset, you can see here my wrist is at a little bit more awkward angle. It's not ideal versus this one, which is rotated back a little bit from center. And that allows me to set up and have that natural wrist angle. That shoulder can stay in the same position during the draw. I can present straight to the target. So this is ideal. Now, when we set up the rest of our belt, we have to look at the angles of everything else. When we set up our magazine pouches, one issue I see a lot of times, especially with newer shooters, is they put them either straight up and down or even canting it forward. In fact, one of my very first guns I ever owned was and don't make fun of me for this, it was a Springfield XD in 40 cal. And I remember that actually came with a mag pouch, a double mag pouch, which was a huge selling point for me at the time because I was broke as hell and I needed a whole setup. It came with a little really crappy paddle holster. It came with a really crappy mag pouch, and that mag pouch actually put the magazines like this on your belt, like a little V. And I remember looking at them like, that just doesn't seem quite right. And it's not what I see all of the other guys running. Because if you have that magazine way up here angled forward, for you to grab that effectively, it is super awkward. So that's not ideal. We want to have those magazines tipped back for the most part. The farther forward on your belt you run the magazine, the more angle you want on it. As you work your way around, what I would encourage you to do is take a mag out and actually figure out, based off of your wrist angle, where you want that magazine angled. So like on this one here, as I come down to grab that, if I'm in this position, my wrist is going to be pretty much straight as I pull that out. As I work around farther back on the belt, if I were to put a magazine all the way on the back here, I would actually want that angled forward like so, because then that would allow me to get a good clean pull from that magazine pouch. So those are a couple of things that you can do just to clean up your draw a little bit as far as setting your gear up for you. When it comes down to setting up a rifle mag pouch, there are a lot of different things that need to go into that. And what I would look at is how you actually reload your rifle. For me, and what I teach a lot of people to do, everybody that I teach, run your bullets facing backwards so that when we grab that, we can rotate the magazine up and we're not having to twist our arm around or anything. I've seen people who want to run this way. I don't like that. I also don't like running bullets forward because then you're not indexing the mag properly. Just a lot of things on there that's not going to work as well as it could. When I'm just running rifle competitions or even my shotgun competitions, I will run a magazine pouch up front facing down like this with bullets facing the ground. This gives me the cleanest reload possible and it's super fast. So those are a couple of quick tips for you as far as setting up your gear, setting up your belt, making it work for you so that you can get a little bit more consistent on your draw, your presentation, even your reloads. I hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions, drop a comment down below, hit me up directly on social media. I'd love to hear from you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out all the other video we have on Tactical Hyve. Thanks for being awesome, and I'll see you at the range.